Hey, welcome. Today we're going to talk about a phrase that I'm pretty sure everyone has felt at some point. You know, the feeling of being pushed to your absolute limit. We're talking about the last straw. We're going to break down what it means, dig into where it came from, which is actually pretty cool, and figure out how you can use it perfectly. So let's dive right in.
So, have you ever had one of those days? Where it feels like you're just getting hit with one thing after another, and you get to that point where you think, I cannot take one more thing. Yeah, that feeling. Let's walk through a scenario that might hit a little too close to home for some of us.
Okay, picture this. You're at work, you've got a big deadline breathing down your neck. And of course, what's the first thing that happens? Your computer just completely dies on you. Ugh, so frustrating, right? But, you take a deep breath, you reboot it, you get back to it. No big deal, yet. All right, so you're finally getting back in the zone. And then, boom, the entire office network crashes. Now you can't get to your files, you can't send that super important email. The pressure is really starting to build now, but hey, you're trying to keep it cool. It's just one of those days, right? And then, to top it all off, your manager walks over. And guess what? The client is complaining about a delay that is happening because of all the technical nightmares you've been dealing with all morning. And right there, in that moment, something inside you just snaps. So that whole story, that is a textbook example of a breaking point. See, it wasn't really the client's complaint that was the issue. Not by itself. It was the combination of everything that came before it. And for that very specific moment, there's a perfect phrase. So what is that final little thing that just sends you over the edge? Well, that, my friends, is the last straw. Let's get into the actual definition. The keywords to really pay attention to here are final and, get this, minor. The last straw is almost never the biggest issue. It's just the very last one. It's like this tiny little weight that finally makes the whole tower of your patience just come crashing down. It's all about that buildup, that cumulative stress. Now, to really get why this phrase is so powerful, we have to go back in time and see where it actually came from. And trust me, the origin story paints a picture that is so vivid, you'll never forget it. It's been around for ages. Okay, so the full original saying is the straw that broke the camel's back. It's a brilliant metaphor, right? Just imagine, you're loading up a camel. It's strong, it can carry a lot. You pile on bundle after bundle, more and more weight. And then you place one single, tiny, almost weightless piece of straw on top, and the camel collapses. That one little straw wasn't the problem, but on top of everything else, it was just too much. All right, so now we get what it means and its whole backstory, but the big question is, how do you actually use it? Because it's a really great phrase, but you gotta use it in the right spot to make it land. So let's get into the do's and don'ts. This breakdown here is super helpful. Basically, you pull out this phrase when there's been a whole series of bad things, and one last little annoyance is what finally makes you snap. But, and this is important, you would never say it for the first problem. Like, if your computer crashes and that's the only bad thing that happens all day, that's just a bummer. It's not the last straw. You know, another great way to get a feel for a phrase is to think about its opposite. So if your day is the total opposite of a last straw situation, you might say things are smooth sailing or it's a walk in the park. Those phrases just feel easy, right? No problems in sight. The complete reverse of feeling totally overwhelmed. All right, you've heard the story, you know the definition, you've even got the origin story down. I think you are totally ready for this. Let's put it to the test. Time for a quick quiz. You ready? Okay, question number 1. What does the last straw primarily refer to? Is it A, the first problem in a series, B, the final event that causes someone to lose patience, or C, a positive turning point? Take a sec to think about it. And the answer is B. Absolutely. It's all about that final little thing that happens after a whole bunch of other stuff has gone wrong. Awesome, you're on a roll. All right, next up, question 2. This one is all about context. When is the best time to use the last straw? A, when a project starts off great. B, after a ton of frustrations, one more tiny issue makes an employee quit their job. Or C, when just one thing happens that's kind of annoying. Think it through. Yep, you got it. The answer is B.
That scenario is basically our story from the beginning of this explainer, right? A long buildup of problems, and then one little thing triggers a huge reaction. That is the perfect definition of the last straw. Okay, final question. This one is a history pop quiz. The origin of the last straw is linked to an idiom about what? A heavy load of bricks, B, a tiny bird's nest, or C, a camel's back. And of course, it is C, the camel's back. That mental image of the poor, overloaded camel is exactly what makes the phrase so memorable and powerful. Excellent work on the quiz. You nailed it. So, as we start to wrap this up, it's clear that the last straw is way more than just a clever saying. It really gets at a feeling we all know, that limit of our patience, our resilience. It's a great reminder that it's usually not one giant disaster that gets to us, but that slow, steady pileup of little things. And that kind of leaves me with one last thought for you to chew on. If we can get better at noticing those little straws as they're piling up, at work, in our relationships, just day to day, maybe we can deal with the weight before we hit that breaking point. So it makes you wonder, what small things are piling up in your world right now? Something to think about.